Welcome back to Trade Up with TJ, talking all things health, wealth, business, and lifestyle. Got a great guest on today, Mitchell Leek. Welcome, bud. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate.
That's the way. Thanks for coming down and cutting out time for your day, and just dive into a bit of your story. And some of the listeners, I reckon they would know who you are by now, but just the up and coming boxing, the horses, and all that, and just give us a bit of rundown of sort of the journey you've been on so far.
Yeah, look, it's been probably my whole life. It's sort of been developing into one way or another how my life's shaped out now. Like it started with the horses. That was sort of what my bread and butter was as a kid. I was riding horses, and that was sort of my whole as a kid growing up. What I wanted to do, I wanted to ride horses my whole life, and I got too fat to be a jockey, so that was out of the equation pretty quickly. And my best mate Benny Allen, he was a skinny one, so he went being the jockey, and we always said, I think we're saying from about 10 or 11, we always say, I'll train him, you ride him. And that was always how it was. And funny enough, last night he rode a winner for Dad, so it was it's always been that way. But yeah, it started off with the horses, and I thought, oh yeah, I'll try my hand to go in the Olympics with the horses. And that's what we did. So we show jumped, got to about 14, and I started playing football, and I thought, oh, this is actually not too bad. So then then I gave away the horse dream a little bit. And we went playing footy, and it's sort of all been a stepping stone to one another. From the footy, we started boxing. Dad said, oh, you need to learn how to fight. People are starting to pick you up and throw you around a bit. And yeah, so we started learning how to fight a bit. And then I got into Gippsland Power as sort of, I think it was a 15-year-old. So I gave away the boxing just sort of as training. Then it was only ever sort of training, bit of sort of the hit fit stuff, I guess you'd say. And then from there, we went through the power ranks a little bit, into a little bit of senior footy. And then I started getting thrown around a little bit again in the seniors. And Dad said, you need to start learning how to fight a bit better than what you are, and learn how to protect yourself. He said one day the big senior's going to pick me up and throw me over a fence. And yeah, so from there we started boxing. Got pretty good at it as sort of as an amateur. Had a handful. I think I had 5 or 6 amateur fights, but I sort of knew my way around the ring a little bit. Won a few, lost a few, and learned a fair bit along the way. And then I was going to give it away. I lost my last fight. I was going to give it away, and Dad said, "Nah, you're going all right at it. Don't give it away just yet." And he made a few phone calls, and next thing I knew, I was in Queensland training with Jeff Horn as he was leading into Manny Pacquiao. And then, yeah, from there, the bug really kicked in and stuck. And then we're training with Jeff Horn, Dennis Hogan, and they both went on to win world titles. So it was a pretty incredible dream to sort of get into. As a young age, you sort of look at those blokes and you start to idolise them when they're that good. And then from there, yeah, it really stuck. And I changed gyms down to Team Ellis, and yeah, we haven't looked back.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Obviously, yeah, training with a few of the bigger names and getting in the ring and sort of sparking that interest to pull you. And as you said, you nearly every sport there you sort of mentioned, you've had a bit of a big goal, some people would say, like obviously Olympics, same with senior footy, Gippsland Power, boxing, obviously jumping in the ring as well. What do you reckon sort of then pulled that into your mind a little bit along that journey? It's just like whatever you do, you want to be good at, you don't want to be shit.
Yeah, pretty well. I think it's been shoot for the stars and
Yeah.
fall somewhere where you can. It's if you aim as high as you can, you're only going to get as close as you can to your goal. Like you set low goals, you'll get to them, but you don't. A lot of people don't get past them. And for me, it's always been I want to be the best at whatever I do. So whatever I'm doing at that time, I want to be the best at, and it's just always developing. Whether it be with my horses now, I'm training race horses. I want to be as good as I can and get the horses, each individual horse, to perform as good as they can. Where myself, it's the exact same thing. And a lot of fights, I always say, like I'm still learning, I'm still developing, and I'm only 25. Like a lot of these guys, we had some sparring yesterday, and they're going, "Oh yeah, I'll start." I said, "Oh, when did you start fighting?" And they said, "Oh, I started fighting when I was 11." And like I'm thinking, Jesus, you got a fair bit of time on me here. I started fighting when I was 17, I think nearly 18. I had my first proper fight, and that's the thing. Like, yeah, I'm learning a lot and developing a lot, and I'm still trying to grow and learn. It's. I think it's one of the addictive parts is when you're getting success, but you're still learning so much at the same time. It becomes really addictive. And I think the more you're learning and why you can learn, that's where you really grow. And I think it's where you start to see where your full potential lies in it. So that's why I've always sort of had high aspirations and high goals. Is that way I'm always aiming for something. You're always going to be aiming to the top, and I'm aiming to be the best, because there's always going to be someone coming. There's always probably going to be someone better than you. But as long as you're aiming high, you're always going to get as close as you can to that goal.
Yeah, that's a good mindset to have leading into those, and especially what the careers you sort of as you said, you've peaked along the way as being things that you sort of have to have that growth mindset in and not be stuck in thinking you are the best along the way,
Yeah.
because you'd be pretty buggered if you got in the ring sometimes going in a bit on the high end and
Yeah.
having to watch yourself. So, and you mentioned a few times your dad along the way has obviously been probably a bit of a push as well as a bit of inspiration to keep you on your toes in that sense.
Yeah, 100%. Look, dad's been massive in anything I've done. He boxed a lot. I've probably followed his footsteps along the way a lot. Like he trained horses, or he does train horses now. He boxed, he played footy, he done all that, and it's probably you probably do. You always follow in your father's footsteps. A lot of guys do, and yeah, everyone looks up to their dad. I think for me, dad's one of my biggest inspirations in what he does. I think you ask anyone in my family or circle, and you all ask them the same question, and it's like you got your yeah, he's like almost like the king of the whole family sort of thing. Like everyone, all my mates, all my family, everyone's worked for him somewhere along the lines, and he's always been that sort of the rock in the family where something goes down, something goes wrong. You've always got him there, and you've always got him to fall back on. Like, I think that's where everyone's worked for him, where they've been in a down spot, they've been in a flat spot, and they go, oh yeah, dad will always go, yeah, come work for me. I've got some work for you, or come do this, come do that. And that's something I think everyone sort of aspires to be, is like their dad, and to grow up. And I'm lucky that dad had his hand in every sort of sport himself, and has always pushed me into the sports he's done, and he was good at them. And I think bloodlines are bloodlines, and I've been good at them. So I've been pretty lucky in that case.
Yeah. Yeah. And mentioning that and sort of saying the family and obviously the old man having a big influence on you as well. Having that circle around you, do you reckon that's made a massive impact for your growth and sort of probably supporting you with some of the sports you're doing, as they can obviously boxing's a pretty scary sport for people to watch from the outside when they're not in control. How have you found the support? Like, has that been a big thing for your growth, you reckon, as well?
Yeah, massive, massive. I'm really lucky. The support I get inside of boxing, inside of the horses, and as a whole in my life, I'm lucky. I got a great family around me. I got great friends around me. I got great supporters around me who are they're always helping uplift me. They're not. I haven't got people there that are a drag or a downer, and you're going, oh mate, just be happy for once. Like, all my mates are always upbeat. They're always all happy. So it's a massive thing, I think, mindset in that case, where you have positive people. You have, like, all my mates are all shooting for the stars themselves in their own individual spot. My partner's always upbringing. She's always doing something. So everyone's always trying to make themselves better every day, trying to just be a better person, a better whatever they're doing, just be better at it. And I think having that around you constantly, everyone's constantly grinding, whether it be they want to get to, all my mates, country kids, we're all born, they want to get to having a farm, or they want to get to their goals of whatever that is. We're all constantly working on it, and you sort of you throw a ball and let a couple of dogs go. They're all competing to do it, and I think that's me, and my mates, and my family, and everyone around me. Is you're all just trying to be your best and get there, but you're all pushing one another to get there, sort of thing. So I think it creates a really good atmosphere around, and it really does. It drives you harder and drives you further, having those people and the positivity around you, sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely impacts it. Having it, those, as you said, the people, you're all chasing the same ball, but you're all supporting each other along the way.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And then saying as well, like obviously you got the people pushing you, you got the big goals. How do you find your own mindset as well in that sense? Like you said, you're shooting for the stars, but do you ever lose, like lose sight of your goal, but like the faith and the like trust you have in yourself at times, probably as well, thinking like, fuck, am I on the right path? Am I going the right direction? Like what?
Yeah, like, and you do, like, you have, whether that be business and financially, you might be having a month where you're like, oh God, this is tough. Like, it's hard, and that's business. And look, my company's been going 2 years, and it can be like that. Or you have a bad sparring session, you get touched up, and you might be sparring, so you sparred 100 times, you just go in there and you get beaten in a sparring session, or you're getting hit by shots you don't normally, and it can be so frustrating, almost demoralising at times, where it takes a shot at your pride, and you go, what is going on? Like, I've done everything right, I've done this, I've done that, and just, I think it's just sometimes you just got to cop it and go, just some days aren't your days. And with boxing, it's one of those things. No matter what, fight day has always got to be a day, and you got to rock up, and you got to fight, and you got to perform, because you can't afford to get beat. But you have your sparring sessions where you get that out the way, and you have them where you're a bit flat, or you're cutting a bit of weight, and you're doing it a bit tough, and it's one of those things you just got to really keep on track and realise that not every day is going to be a day, but you make your main day count. And that's, for me, fight day, or with the horses, race day. You've just got to make that really focus in on. You got to get your bad days out the way before your end goal and your sort of your main day.
Yeah, no, that's a cool mindset to have and sort of be on that goal to know there's going to be bad days, there's going to be good days, and what's to sort of come as well. And coming into that, as you said, with the boxing and sort of being the big thing we'll start on, coming into those camps and sort of some of the fights you would have, and obviously being 12-0 now in your professional side of careers, how have you found that, like, leading up to a camp and you've got the boxing side of things going, but as you said, you've got your business that's been going now 2 years and you're still trying to train horses and manage that as well. How do you find that balance in between the two when you've got the business, but also you've got to be a professional boxer?
Yeah, I'm lucky I've got a really good team around me, whether that be at the farm, with the horses. I've got mum, dad, who are trainers in their own right, and then we've got great workers there. But then my boxing team are really good. But then also the way racing is, it's early mornings, horses get worked early. You're working from 5, normally you're at the track or you're at the farm, trying to get them going around 4:35 and get everything done. And then from there, you finish by 10. I get into my training sessions after that, and then we just get home in the afternoon and I'll go through the horses, work out what's going on. It is a balancing act some days, and it's big days. Like, it's not unusual to be up at sort of 3:30, 4 o'clock and not be rolling into bed till 8 o'clock at night or getting home to have dinner at 7. So there's days where they are long, grueling days, but you just balance it. It's a balancing act, and you just got to know your body and listen to your body a little bit. Sometimes you know when you're flat, you know when you're tired, and go, all right, I need to fix this up or change this around to know what's coming up. Like, especially in fight times when you're deep in camp, I sort of manage it a little bit more and go, all right, this is what got going on. Let's manage this here and push this here, and you'll push little things around and just reschedule a little bit.
And coming into the fights as well, like with having a hectic schedule and like the nutrition side of things, sort of sleep being a part of it as well, recovery, and you said listening to your body and understanding your body. How have you found that along the journey as well a little bit? Like,
Yeah, nutrition. I wouldn't want a nutritionist in my camp watching me too closely. I'm shocking for it. I can miss a meal to have a bit of chocolate some camps. I reckon it's pretty bad. Yeah, so I'm a massive sweet tooth. But look, when you're coming into camp and you're cutting weight, like, it's not unusual to be cutting sort of anywhere from 8 to 10 kilos coming into a fight over a camp. So yeah, you're moving around a little bit of weight at the time. Like, I normally walk around sort of 82. And as you start training, you just got to start bringing that down over the camp, and then you got to have everything perfect. You don't want to be getting into the ring and you're dehydrated or you're lacking in something and your body's just not there. So you're constantly listening to your body. I think that's the main thing is you're readjusting all the time. You're going, all right, how am I feeling today? What's here? What's there? What are my niggles? I've had a couple injuries the last 12 months, and it's just been sort of keeping everything in balance now. And I've been lucky that the last camp was probably one of my better camps I've had, without injuries and sort of cruise sailing through. So it's just you got to have everything so sort of perfect leading into fights that your water intake's right. Then because you're also cutting fluid out coming into fights. So if you're not drinking enough water the weeks leading in, you don't have that fluid then to cut out by the time you need to. So you got to make sure that's there, and then your nutrition and everything's there to get through your sparrings and your hard training sessions. So it is a big thing. But you also just I listen to my body. I know, all right, what weight do I wake up? What have I got to go to bed? So what can I afford to eat during the day? I know if I'm exceeding where I want to be, I might go have a nice, more fulfilling meal and put a little bit more weight on than I need to. But in turn, I'm going to be feeling a lot better tomorrow for it. So I'm a big thing like that. I'm not going to go cutting too much weight too soon just to be ahead of schedule. I like to be right on where I am with my weight and then sort of go from there.
yeah. And with it being sort of a pretty critical point of your fights, as we all know with boxing, like cutting weight and getting that weight down for when weigh-in is due, what's usually like a camp time period, as well as what amount of weight? You said about 10 kilos. So what's your fight weight at?
So I fight at 72 and a half.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's always hard. It's a hard stretch getting to it, but in boxing, if you're not doing it hard, you're not fighting at the right weight, sort of thing. Every every fighter at the top level does it tough. It's you see some blokes and you see the videos, and some of the UFC fighters how they do it. I don't know that Alex Pereira released a few videos of his weight cuts, and how they do that is beyond me. He can cut, I think, 15 kilos or 20 kilos over a camp, something ridiculous when he was fighting light, and then they just get it back on the next day and off they go again. So it is amazing the mindsets that you have to go through, and you just have to be sort of you know what's coming up, the fight cut. and you know it's going to hurt, but you just go, yeah, let's just get it done. And the apple dangle at the end of it's is the fight. So that's what you train so hard for. Like the whole part of camp, if you didn't have to cut weight, would be so much more fun. But once you get the weight cut, and then you get to actually go out and enjoy yourself and have the fun. Like nothing makes me nervous, but you always get a little bit nervous to get on the scales on fight night and make sure everything's perfect. And then because you're also playing with like 100 grams, 200 grams. Like I don't want to be too far under where I've taken an extra 100, 200, 300 grams at them. I like coming and smack on, get in, get out, and rehydrate. So I'm not taking too much extra out.
Yeah. What is it like, obviously, as you said, coming in right on the knocker? Like if you're over, have you got a time period to cut? Like
Yeah, I think they give you an hour. I think you got an hour to get whatever you've come in over off. I haven't had it yet.
Haven't had it, no.
I had one where we agreed on a weight that was under middleweight, so under my 72, and they tried to get me 71 and a half or 71, and my body just couldn't do it. I could not physically get any under. I was at the stage where I was like nearly passing out, like just trying to get under it, and I just can't get under it, and your body just gets to a stage where it just stops releasing fluids, stops releasing sweat when you're trying to get it off, and that's another thing with knowing your body. You got to experiment sometimes, and you're trying so hard in boxing just to get better, see where your body's at, see where your weight's at, and just to get to your absolute best. Like you want to get as light as you can, but still fight at your best. So it's one of those things. Sometimes you experiment, and that was an experiment that didn't work that time. But
sure,
we learned from it. My team learned from it, and then from there we move on to the next one. And so now we just keeping it middleweight, and I think that's where we'll stay.
Yeah, no, that's good. That sounds good. And obviously cutting down to that weight, how did your first time going and then sort of working out, as you said, you want the camp to be tough so you know what weight to pull back, sort of finding where you need to fight at professionally, you would say, like working that weight out, like, and what category you're sort of in as well?
Yeah, I'm really lucky with my team. Like they brought me down slowly. Like, so when I first went pro, I think I turned pro at 78 kilos. And then we went first fight 78, then COVID hit. I think I turned pro in 2019, at the end of 2019, and then COVID hit, and that shut us down. So I was sort of sitting in COVID. My partner was from South Australia at the time. She was living over there, borders locked. And well, this is no good. What am I going to do here? So I moved to Queensland, and I went up there for 6 months and trained up there. And that's where sort of the racing really tied back in. Mum and Dad didn't have a lot of horses in work back then, so we just sort of switched it around, and I ended up going up there, and I hadn't ridden track work for a while, and I ended up going, well, what am I going to do for work? I'd done a few years of my plumbing apprenticeship, didn't like that, so I deferred that. And then, so I ended up going, well, what am I good at? Riding track work. So I started riding track work for one of the bigger trainers up there, and that's when my love of that really kicked in again. We're riding some really nice 2-year-olds and getting a feel for them again. So then that's where the juggling act between boxing and track work began properly. I was boxing up there. I had one fight up there, and then we got down to 76 for that. And that was sort of a different weight cut because you're out of your own environment, that one. And I didn't have everything I have here. I was in Queensland. I didn't know where there was saunas. I didn't have hot baths. I didn't like trying to sweat itself. I ended up just turning the heater on in the car, putting some stuff on, going for a run, jumping in the car. It was hot and going for a sweat in the car. And that's a little trick that the jockeys do going to races and stuff like that. And I thought, well, that's the best way to do it. And it wasn't too bad, 76. Like back then, I looked at it and went, God, that was no fun. But it actually wasn't that bad. Where nowadays it's a lot easier for me. So like we fought at 76 there. I come back down here. I actually broke my hand at home on the farm, and I think I was only 6 weeks out from a fight, or 8 weeks out from the fight when I broke my hand. So we got surgery. They said, well, the plate's in there, it can't snap again. So we slowly started getting back to it. So we fought, I think it was 6 or 8 weeks later. That was my third fight. And that was at 83. Because the bloke I fought was bigger. I didn't need to fight that heavy, but the bloke I fought was bigger. So we fought at that weight. It meant I didn't have to cut any weight with my hand, how it was, because I was sort of tricky in itself. And then from there, we sort of started bringing it down. Then we went to 74 after that. Or 74 and a half. We saw where we were there. That was all right. We had another one at 74 flat. That was all right. And then then we went to 72 and a half. And my first time making 72 and a half, it was so scary. Like I was sitting there going, this is not good. This is like, and it is as a fighter, I think early doors while you're learning your body and you're learning about your body, it's the scariest part. You got to work out, all right, where does my body sit? How do I do this? How do I do that? And a lot of amateurs and a lot of sort of early professionals, especially the professionals, because your first few pro fights in the amateurs, you sort of fight where you walk around or within a kilo, where your first few professional fights is actually when you start cutting a fair bit of weight, because you can cut a fair few kilos coming into a fight. You got 24 hours to rehydrate and then you fight. So where an amateur fight the day you weigh in. So you really learn about your body and how much fluid you can take out and how much you can put back in. And as an early professional, that was the scariest part, was really learning how much can I take out of myself and then how much can I get back on, sort of thing, and doing it all properly and having been in the ring, then peaking again the next day.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty crazy journey. Then at least, as you said, it comes slowly but surely down. You probably thought each time this can't get any tougher, and then it gets tougher the next time, cutting down.
Yeah, yeah, especially because I started young enough where my body's even now still growing and still filling out. So like you look through the photos, and it was funny. We're looking through photos. I think it's like coming into my last fight. We're looking through photos from when I turned pro, how my body looked to my last fight, to a couple fights before, and your body just changes so dramatically at sort of, I'm 25 now, and it's still changing now to when I was 23, 24, and I just get bigger and bigger and bigger, sort of thing, but the scales don't seem to move, so it does get tougher, but I think my body's sort of getting to a stage now where it's starting to set, so it's good.
Yeah, understand the game now a little bit after you've probably done it those 12 times, that bit more serious.
Yeah, definitely. You can find little shortcuts along the way, and then I'll tell you one thing though: weight's one shortcut that makes it tough. You never can get around it. You can never change the number on the scale. So it's one of those things. You just got to always be on them. I'm on them 3-4 times a day coming into a fight. I'm just checking. Where's my weight? Where's this? Where's that? And yeah, you're just always after it and just checking just to make sure you're on track, because it's so easy to go out and eat too much or go out and drink too much, and all of a sudden you're in trouble. Now you got to go for a run and you got to lose an extra half kilo. Or that's another, if you're running, that's another 20 minutes out running or something like that. So it's just, you're always watching, always checking.
Yeah, that's cool. And then, as you said, coming into those fights when you do your weigh in and then loading your body back up, you allowed, like, do they weigh you again? You got a cap, or you can eat as much and drink as much as you sort of need to fuel yourself?
Yeah, usually you don't have a cap. You can if they contract you to have one. So my last fight being with the IBF, that was the first time I'd ever had a cap. So they actually capped me. I had to come in under 78. And so you can go at 72.5 weigh-in on the day of the weigh-in. And then the next morning I had to weigh in at 8 o'clock in the morning under 78 kilos. So you're still looking at 5.5 kilos you can put on overnight, which was pretty good for me. I'm not one that blows up too much. Like when you get someone like I was saying before, that Alex Pereira and stuff, they can really put on a lot of weight. But yeah, I don't normally blow up too much. Like I know there's a few boys that might put on 10 kilos, 11 kilos overnight. Some can put on 15, like they can put on a fair bit overnight, just because your body is so drawn from fluid, so drawn from food, and then it sticks to you a little bit, so you just don't get it off as quick as what you would. But yeah, it's one of those things that's not normally too bad. They don't normally, but yeah, they can contract it in.
And coming back to that World Youth title as well, like I know a few other times probably stepping into the ring, as you said, having that mindset coming into each fight that you're still learning, still growing as a person as well. How do you find it literally fight day, walking into the ring, coming into your opponent? Like if you're walking out, are you zoned in, or are you looking around what's going on, or like are you on the money?
Yeah, you're walking in. I remember coming into the last fight, I felt like I could run through a brick wall. Like you're literally running around, like you're doing so much running, you're doing so much training, and everything's just so smack on. I was walking into that at such a good camp. I felt like I could just get up and run through a wall. Like your body's just flying, everything's just so fine tuned and perfect that you're just excited. I don't get nervous in fights anymore. Like it's one of those things. I was just excited. Like I remember my first amateur fight, I was so nervous I could barely stand up. And I thought, I can't keep doing this if I can't get this. And I used to get that nerves that I learned to control it so well that now I don't get nervous at all. And I just get excited. And like you come out and it's sort of, it's just a moment of enjoyment for me coming out, especially the walkout. I think you come out and I look around and I see all my family, my mates and everyone there. And you actually just get to enjoy it and absorb it a little bit. And you're sort of walking out and you see everyone there. There's a couple thousand people there all going mad. And normally I'm the last fight, so everyone's pretty drunk and had a few too many beers. But you come out and you just get to enjoy it. It's one of those things, you've just trained your ass off for 8 weeks or 12 weeks, however long your camp is, and and you're just excited to be in there, excited to fight, excited to hopefully win. And the thing is, we have hard sparring at the gym where you're always sparring someone better than you're fighting. You're always getting different people. You're getting every sort of style, every different weight, speeds, everything's heights, everything's so different that by the time you're in there, you mentally just can't get beat. And I think that's one thing that I'm coming in so prepared and so over prepared that I just do not feel beatable. And when you're walking into the ring in that mindset, it is really hard to stop that momentum and to stop it. Like little moments might not go right, but then you can swing them so quickly. And especially boxing, like every fight's just a punch away from changing the fight. Like you can sometimes feel there. Like I remember my Jack Brubaker fight. It was such a tough, grueling fight. I remember I'd done both my hands in the fight previous to that. We were completely underdone coming into it, and I ended up having both surgery on both my hands straight after it. And I remember going into it, going probably the worst camp I've ever had, but I still was that excited to be there. And you go into it just ready and excited, but you know in the back of your mind, all right, I've got to box smart. And through the fight, it just got tougher and tougher and tougher. It was my physically hardest fight I've had. It was a 10-round fight against the biggest name I've ever fought. It was live on Channel 7 Plus. Like it was the first time they've ever done a show in Victoria. So like there was a big hype around the fight. It was a big platform and a massive opportunity for me just to really grab with both hands. And that's why we took the fight, just off the opportunity that arose. It was a great fight. But I remember after round 4, I sat down and I said to the boys, God, this is going to be a long fight. It was me coaches and that. And I was absolutely exhausted. I remember sitting there. And after every round, you're not even counting the rounds when you're that exhausted. You sit there, and I was watching the ring girls come in with the cards, and I'd go, yeah, that's round 5, round 6, round 7, and then all of a sudden you get a second wind. And I remember round 8, he come forward and I hit him with a body shot, and it was just that one punch that changed the moment of the whole fight, and that just completely swung and changed. And I went from round 7 I probably nearly lost the round, or I did lose the round, I think, and all of a sudden your momentum changes, and then you swing off a body shot, and you can just really build momentum. And when you build that momentum in fights, it's the same as a mindset thing. Even when you're exhausted, you can get a second win and really pick yourself up off the deck and go again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool to see, and that's what it's probably showed as well. You've got that mindset to keep moving forward, and that's where then you've come out sort of 12-0 and knocked out 6 opponents. Is it in that professional career as well?
Yeah, I think so. I couldn't actually tell you the knockout ratio, but yeah, it'd be something like that.
Yeah, and it's obviously something you've worked a skill on probably as well, with that skills to sort of, as you said, you've got that mindset coming into every fight that you're there to win, and you've already done the work, and you're not coming in, as you said, underdone or underprepared. You know, as you said, you've sparred people who are better than who you're actually fighting, which is probably a bit of a trick to the game as well, to learn those tricks and tips as well.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's just all, boxing, sport, and I think in life's momentum. If you put everything in a positive way and you keep building in a good direction, everything normally falls into place where it's meant to be. And I think that's probably the biggest thing I always go in. And for me, the momentum in my head, everything's just forward momentum. I just look at it and go, all right, we're not taking steps back. How can we just keep building what we're doing? Whether that be with business, with my horses, how can I expand my business? Whether that be with boxing, how can I get better as a fighter? And that is sparring better opponents than me. I'm not going to win every sparring. Sometimes I'll go and I get absolutely the crap beat out of me. Like you might go in there and go, yeah, that was an experience walking out of there. And you know what? Sometimes it's not an opponent that's better than you. It just might be a different style that you haven't seen before that comes in and completely upsets what you've been working on. And every punch you throw is not working. Every combination, or your feet aren't fast, and just little things that, and all of a sudden you're on the back foot and you think, oh, I've just won all my other spars, and this kid's just come in. He might be an amateur and he's just beat the crap out of me. And you come out deflated and you go, well, how can we build that and work on it? In the next spar, you end up winning the spar because you go. And that's, for me, it's just building momentum on that. How can I get better? How can I improve what I'm doing with anything? And all aspects of my life, I'm just sort of always trying to improve.
Yeah, it's good. Like, yeah, as I said at the middle as well, like having that growth mindset as well. You're not thinking, oh, fuck, like there's no work I need to do. I've got my professional career. I'm happy days, just walk along and just go with the momentum and let it play out.
Yeah, well, I think that's when you get beat.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Complacency is a killer. whether that be with anything. You can't get complacent and think, oh yeah, I've made it, because everyone thinks oh yeah, they've made it when they've made it. But if you look at the worldwide picture, yeah, there's a lot of people in front of you and there's a lot of people in the order. Like it's one of those things. I want to get to the number one spot in Australia at middleweight. There's 3 blokes in front of me now to get there. Like I'm number 4, and right now they've got better resumes. They've been to the top. I'm sort of the youngest up and coming. I'm one of the younger ones in Australia that's sort of in the top 10 that's undefeated. Like it's one of those things that if I get complacent and think, oh yeah, I've made it, you've already beat yourself, sort of thing. Like you've just got to keep really building and getting to that next step. And I'm lucky I got such a good team at Team Ellis in the gym there that keep me grounded and go, righto, get better at this, get better at that. And they're not scared to sit down and have an awkward conversation with you and go, mate, that's not good enough. Like I remember a few fights ago, I had one and the boss, Jake, he just got me and said, we're going for a walk, and took me for a walk and said, what are you doing? Like you're 6-0, 7-0, or 8-0 at the time, and said, what are you doing? Like you got to pick it up. Like there's levels to it. Unless you really do, you're going to get stuck at a certain level. And some people will be happy with it, with the level they get to. Some people only want to win an Australian title or want to win their title or just win a fight. But for me, that's not the picture. I'm looking at the big picture and getting to the top. So I think it's something you really got to build on and look at and have those people around you at the same time that go, yeah, what are you doing? Pick it up, get going again, and let's get moving forward.
Yeah, do you find that constructive criticism, which a lot of people these days probably struggle with it, and say, as you said, you're lucky you got that team around you that just pull you to the side and say, listen here, like give you a whack behind the ear pretty much, and say, do you reckon that comes back to probably a bit of your upbringing as well, with the old man just fucking ripping you into line when you're...
100%. I think, that's what I was going to say, I think it's how you're brought up as well. I don't think anyone enjoys getting constructive criticism or getting critiqued. I think it's something you go, oh yeah, I thought I was doing all right. And then they go, no, you're not, sort of thing. And you go, yeah. And then you look at it in the big picture, and if you look on every sort of bit of criticism you got, yeah, some might not have been perfect, but a lot of it, you look back and go, yeah, you're right. I was doing that. And I look back a lot, 99% of the things they've said to me or anyone said to me, criticising me for this or for that. You always get the keyboard warriors criticising you for something that you're not doing wrong. But like if you look at the people in your inner circle that really criticise you, and that I think that's taking criticism from the right people as well. That's the most important. Take criticism from the people that actually want to see you be your best, not criticism from people that don't really care. Like there's a lot of people that want to put their 2 bobs in and they don't care about your career, or they don't care when you're taking criticism from people that are your family, in your coaching team, or your best mates, and they actually want to see you succeed, 99% of the time they're actually right in what they're saying, and they're doing it for the benefit of you and to see you get better. So I think that's where you sort of, sometimes you got to take a shot to your pride and go, yeah, you're right, I've stuffed up here, or this, that, and the other, and you really do grow from it. And that's something that I've learned to be able to take, because I probably never took it that well back in the day, but I've learned sort of you got to take it and you got to keep growing, and they are saying it for at the time, might not feel it, but they are saying it for you to be better. So you just got to sort of cop it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And it's sort of, you probably got used to it, as you said, over the period of time, your upbringing and that sort of thing. But as you said, cop it, think about it, and then as you said, 99% of the time they're right when they're looking from the outside, because in the moment, as you said, with the boxing and that sort of thing, they're watching you from the outside. You can't actually see what you're doing at times.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing. Like I get all my sparring videoed, like when I'm sparring, and even then, like what I'm seeing in front of me while I'm sparring, why I'm in there, is completely different to how it looks on the outside sometimes. And that's why it's good to have 2 different aspects, and to have good people around you that can go and look at it and go, yeah, you're doing this wrong, yeah, you're doing that wrong. And they'll be in the corner talking to me at the same time, and they might say, yeah, little things out to critique me at the time. But my corner's pretty quiet for most corners. Like they're not in there yelling things out and going, oh, do this better, do that better at the time. They'll wait. We're in there for 3 minutes. They got a minute after that, or in sparring and training sessions, got 30 seconds to go, right, do this better, do that better. And then during the round, they might say, hey, we told you to sit down a little bit more on your shots, or we told you to use your feet a bit better. And they'll just remind me of little things I'm doing wrong, and simplify what they just told me in the corner. They'll just give me a little reminder. So you're constantly and that's them just trying to get me to improve and evolve as a fighter. You're constantly just working on things and just trying to get better and better and better sort of thing. So to having good people around you, I think is most important out of it all.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you got that circle around you, as you've said those few times. Like they're uplifting you, they ain't dragging you down. They're all working with you, not against you. So
I think that's one thing as well. Like I don't have a big circle around me. I've got a small friends group. We're all very, very close mates. Like if we had to go to war, we all go to war together, sort of thing. Like I don't have a massive friend group where you're gonna go, oh yeah, he's going there, and they're all up to no good, or they're all doing like all my mates are sort of all in a goal, sort of doing their own thing, but we're all very close. Only a few of us, and then it's the same as my training group. Like we've got a small team where we're just all working together to all be better. So you sort of just always got one of those backs with all that as well.
yeah, yeah, that's cool to see. You got that circle, yeah, as you said, upbringing you, not dragging you down, and then going into that like boxing and coming through as well. And those fights where it's like that feeling where you're knocking someone out. It's probably something everyone sees, and obviously you've had a few knockouts. Like, how are you finding that in the ring? Like when it sort of happens, are you like, what's going on? Or like, when you're fighting, are you in the moment fully, or are you sort of with it but not with it?
Yeah, yeah. It's a funny thing. Like it's knocking someone out. It's a funny like sort of how it all works. It's your hardest shots isn't the one that knocks someone out. It's the shot that you barely feel hit. Like I remember even my last fight, I hit him with a shot and it just completely put him down. And you don't even actually, you barely feel it hit. It's just so clean and fast, and it's lights out. Where you can hit someone and line them up and throw it as hard as you want, but and it hits hard, but it doesn't stop them and knock them out. So those ones where you just wing a hook through and you're just not even like you just a little reaction or something like that, and it doesn't actually feel like anything. Like it just feels like a slap across the glove, and then next minute they're just completely out. And you go, I remember early doors, you just get that excited. You're like, oh, hang on, where do I go now? Because you got to go into the neutral corner where your coaching staff isn't and theirs isn't. So you're in one of the white corners. And that was something that I had to learn. Like I've always had a fair bit of power, and even now, like I don't set my power up very well. Like I don't use it as an attribute. I sort of bang it in sometimes, and it'll work. Sometimes won't work others, and that's something you need to learn as well yourself. Like it's you learn in the sport that not every shot has to be hard. Not everything's bombing. Not everything's this, and then that's another thing I'm still learning and working on now. That I've got power, but learning to knock someone out with the power you got's completely different and unusual and probably foreign to a person than just going there and oh yeah, I'm just going to go whack him as hard as I can. He's going to fall. It's setting it up. It's getting it to flow through, and then getting it to flow through with what you're actually doing in a combination or off a movement. It's a lot harder than probably most people think in there.
You can't just go out swinging as hard as you can and hoping, as you said, some of the harder hits don't actually do their job.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's cool. And then coming back to the racehorses and obviously then diving into that and starting your own business over the last couple of years, how'd you find that transition, obviously following in the parents' footsteps, then going out and getting into the training side? As you said, you're working for a few people along the way as well, but then really finding that love for horse and going, I'm doing this for myself and I'm creating the business out of this.
Yeah, it was one of those things. Like I was working for a trainer locally once I come back from Queensland, and we obviously rode horses up in Queensland, then come back down here, and I thought, well, what am I going to do down here? I'll keep doing what I was doing in Queensland because I was enjoying it. And I'd done that for a good 12, 18 months, and I sort of just kept doing it. It's something I'd done my whole life. I started riding racehorses at probably, I think I was in 2010. We went to Darwin, Dad and we took some racehorses up there, and I was riding them up there. So I've sort of ridden them forever, and I've known all about them. I'm always still learning now and trying to learn new things about them, and trying to. There's a lot of technology now involved in racing, so you're always trying to find the next thing that can help you and stuff like that. But I sort of went through and I thought, oh, we're riding down here, been doing this for a while. Like, why don't I have a crack? So I started then slowly opening my own business, and I started at the bottom of it all. And you start with like your breakers and breaking horses in and educating them to become racehorses. So you're getting babies that are sort of as racehorses. They come in at sort of 18 months old. You call them yearlings, and they're sort of nearly 2, and you break them in. And then from there we went from that to pre-training them. So you get your ones in that in between stage where they're either coming from the paddock and they just need training to get fit, or they've just been broken in and they're then flowing through. from there, and because I've always had a pretty good upbringing with horses, I was a pretty good rider. So then from there, I got re-education horses, helping sort of trainers with horses that were naughty. That I'm quite an advanced rider when it comes to that side of things, so I can handle it where their riders might not be as advanced, or they got some girls and the horses might be strong and pushy or naughty. So I sort of started re-educating them. And then it was just a step-by-step process. And then you've got to have a bit of financial sort of backing when it comes to that. So I was actually lucky. I took a wing when I was 2020, I think. 2022. It was. My partner and I were going to Europe, and we had saved all this money to go to Europe. And I was sitting there, and this horse come online. I said, I really like this horse. She said, you're not using our Europe money. Well, I think we had 30 grand set aside to go to Europe, and I took 15 of it on this horse. So I bought my first racehorse, and that was my first horse I bought. And funny enough, he turned out good. He come out. I gave him one run before I went to Europe, and I thought, God, I hope this horse wins because I need this money back. And he come fourth. I thought, oh, that's okay. It's not too bad. He showed a bit of something there. I went to Europe for a couple of weeks, come home. Mum and Dad looked after him, and at that time I didn't have my trainer's license, so I sort of had to take a back seat there, wrote all his track work, and Dad and I worked so closely with him, and we ended up winning 4 straight with him from there. So we turned a $14,000 horse. I think we won $220,000 with him up to date. So he sort of then really helped me. It actually really helped me get my trainer's license. I went and built all stables up at the farm, at Mum Dad's farm, and that's where I really started getting off the ground then. So. And then everything, we sort of had to flow the money on from his winning straight back into the business, into growing. And it's with horses, it's such a hard business. So you're always a month behind. So you bill at the start of the month, and then people normally pay sort of mid-month at the end of the month, but you're already paying their feed bills. You're paying everything in advance. So by the time you're always chasing, so you need that sort of backing financially. So I was lucky to get such a good horse, and it happened to be my first horse. That could really set me up with building the stables, getting some horses in. And then I sort of went on a wing as well and sort of backed myself in. I went and bought some young babies and sort of trained them myself, and sort of, you got to back yourself in. You got to get horses and just push it and go, all right, well, I want to get my trainer's license. I'm going to have to show people I can train. So then I took him over. He was my first ever winner as with a horse, and I was really lucky. I had a few horses at the time, and he come out and won, and then we won a couple that year with him. And then it's just one of those things. You just have to keep backing yourself and go, I'm going to buy this horse, I'm going to buy that horse, and you get mates and that into them. And it's been a good bit of fun, but it's always growing. It's always sort of, how can I make it better? How can I make it sort of grow into the direction I want it to? And I'm lucky I got a really good partner who's smart on the books, and she's sort of really good where I'm not good. And that's with money and finances and working out, all right, where do we put this, where do we put that, and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a massive sort of team to get it perfect and get it where it's at now.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. The same thing, you've taken that risk on yourself, as you said, and you've had to, on that horse, meant to go on to Europe and spend half the money, but you've won it all back. So it's come out of the better side of the story and come out the better situation, really, hasn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny, at the same time I bought one, Dad bought one, and so mine won 4 in a row, and then Dad won 3 in a row while I was in Europe. And we were having a punt on it while we were in Europe, and I ended up winning my money back on the punt while we were in Europe on this horse. So it was a good story. And I think, I was actually just looking at it before. It won 3 in a row at Sandown. It was paying like 40s every time. I just kept winning. And yeah, I ended up winning 4 in a row. And then that ended up a competition between Dad and I, whose horse could win the most in a row. So it was a funny one. Dad ended up winning, I think he won 4 out of 3, and I won 4 out of row, and then I lost one, and then won, I think, 5 out of 4 with him or something. So it was a good bit of fun.
Yeah, that's cool. Keep that morale in the family, as you said, all uplifting each other, but still got to have a bit of
Yeah, it's always going up, but that's the thing. It's always, you're trying to better yourself, and in that, it's like everyone's chasing the same ball. You're all helping one another get there, but you're bumping each other along the way and having a bit of fun while you're at it. Like, I ride all Mum and Dad's horses track work every day, and you know where their horse is at, and look, I raced Dad yesterday, and I galloped his horse 2 days ago for him, and it come out and beat me. So it's one of those things. You just got to cop it on the chin and keep moving forward. But you're just happy for one another, and that's back to one of those things with a mindset. You want to be happy for your mates succeeding and really getting there, and your family. And it doesn't matter if they're beating you at the time, but if your group around you's winning and you're all competing against one another to be better and to push yourself, I think it really brings in and ties in a good environment to be in.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and that's what it's showed across your journey as well. Everything you've done, and as you said, the small circle you have and the people you have around you are always pushing you to be better, not dragging you back.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just, yeah, I think it creates a bit of excitement.
Yeah.
We'll have a laugh and we all get to have a bit of fun along the way. So I think that's the main thing in it all is just enjoy each moment as it is with whatever it is, whether you're getting beat by your mates or your family and just keep moving forward with it. So it's always been good.
Yeah, that's cool. And going along that, and you mentioned getting your trainer's license. Obviously, probably not many of us know what's involved in that side of things, like trying to get that license. And
It's so you got to have you got to tick all their criteria sort of thing. So you got to be in the industry for the last however many years. Then you got to also have the financial side behind you to make sure you got enough money in the bank that if everything went wrong, that you can still help the horses get through, pay for their feeds, pay for the upkeep and bills and stuff. So they go through like a very in-depth check, yeah, police records, everything like that. Everything's gonna be clean and then also your facilities and how you can facilitate and looking after them, and then your educational side behind them is some book work and studying you got to do behind it all, and sort of examinatory side of things as well. So there actually is a fair bit that actually goes behind it just to get your license. And they're not a simple animal just to train. Like it's not teaching a dog to sit. It's you got to be able to read a horse's mind and almost be in contact with how they're feeling. You got to be able to. I can go out with any of my horses now and I can look at them and go, yeah, it's not right. And I can just look at its eye and you can tell it's not right. Or you can look at the condition of its coat, or you got to be able to feel their legs and know where they're sore, and you got to be able to work things out. And then be able to also be able to change things on the go. Like they're athletes as much as we are, and I am. Like it's amazing how I try and tie my sort of training in with theirs. I look at it and go, yeah, that's where he's at, that's where I'm at, and I can have a look at a horse and go, yeah, it's perfect for this race, or it's a little bit off, sort of thing, or things like that. So you're always just looking at them and adjusting and changing things on the fly.
yeah, yeah, that's cool. Look at them both, as you said, they are literally athletes. Like they're going out there and running their heart out. It's like, yeah, treating them as like the way you treat yourself, as you said, coming up to a fight and understanding their body as well as understanding your horse, because they can't talk to you.
No, and they can't. And that's the thing, that you got to be able to read them. Like they have no communicational skills as far as talking goes, but there's a lot of ways that a horse can communicate with you to a degree where they can show you they're sore. You can see it in them. I've been riding for a long time. When I'm riding them, I can feel where their actions at, and how they do feel. Like they're a different animal because they haven't got the sort of fat contents that we have either. So you've also got to look at their condition and their weights and stuff like that. So much goes in behind the scenes and time and stuff like that that people don't actually realise with racehorses. And there's a lot of people that are probably against racing nowadays, and you get all these people protesting and stuff like that, but they don't actually understand the care and the amount that's involved in behind them, and the amount that goes in with veterinary work, acupuncture work, even massages and all that sort of thing that goes in behind them, the technology behind them. There's more behind them. They're probably better looked after than people's pet dogs. Like they're on clean bedding every night. They're rugged with 1 and 2 rugs during the middle of winter. They're perfectly looked after because they've got to perform at their best. So they're really well maintained.
Yeah, and probably the people that do complain, they probably get the horses getting looked after a lot better than they look after themselves at times as well.
And that's the thing. It's and it is true. Like they're fed perfectly. Their nutrition's perfect. Their waters, what they're getting, everything is just perfect for them. So they're so well sort of looked after and educated and everything. And they love what they're doing. I could open a box up and people go, oh, they shouldn't be boxed. Well, I could open all my boxes up and all my horses would stay in there. They go out and all my horses go out in the paddock every day, and you could open the gate up to a paddock after an hour after they've had their play, and they'll run themselves straight back into their box. It's one of those things. They love their life. Horses love being in work, especially race horses. They love being out and ridden, going for a play, it's like going to footy training, going to boxing training for me, and going to all that. They're going around like on the training track. They're going around with other horses, and they'll have a play and a squeal and stuff like that. They're like a big puppy. That's them chasing a tennis ball. So it's one of those things.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool to look at that way. And how have you found that, like learning them along the way as well a little bit. As you said, you've got that growth mindset, but you've been around horses your whole life. But understanding in that more and like learning different things, and obviously, as you said, the new technology now, as we all know, technology's taken the world over pretty much. But it's like that technology they're probably bringing into the racing scene as well would be pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, it is. It's quite amazing. Like I've got a thing called an equimeter from France, and like that can tell me their sectionals in their gallop and stuff like that. But then in the same time, it shows me how big their stride is at the same time. Like they can cover in one stride 7.5 meters. So you're looking at an animal that's going 60k, covering 7.5 meters in a stride, and you're looking at it, and then you go, all right, so how's that horse going and I can go into depth in what area they've been working in, whether it be the anaerobic area of their heart and all that sort of thing, and then where's their heart rate at, how quick was their recovery. So you're getting so much technology behind these horses now, and it's so interesting to go through, and they're quite a heavily used item now. Now that they're out, and it is really good. Like you're going through all these new things that they're bringing out for horses, and the technology is getting better and better and better. And because I'm young, I think helps a lot that I can really learn to grow and understand it. And I sort of help with Dad, and he's starting to use it a little bit. And you just see all these little things. It's like an Apple Watch for a horse. And you can just say, you put yours on workout mode and say, oh yeah, that's where my heart was. Well, it's so important to be able to see that on a horse, but then at the same time be able to compare all their workouts against one another and go, yeah, this is where they're at, and sort of then be able to match that up to, oh, now we're going to a race. How was it looking compared to last race? The quicker, slower, the same? So yeah, it is quite amazing, all the technology and everything that's behind it.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's, yeah, as you said, an Apple Watch, you just clip on the horse and see how it's going, really.
Yeah, literally. It is. It's amazing.
In check. And yeah, that's cool, but to be able to see those insights, as you said, you can understand how the horse is feeling and that, and getting an understanding for it, but getting those internal, literally, insights now while you're riding it, while you're checking it, making sure it's doing the right workouts, that it's getting the correct training as well.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, it's massive. I think they are athletes. They're probably even more athletes than us as humans are. They're running at 3 times the speed. They're 500 odd kilos of pure muscle and bone and muscle. Like they just get up and go, and they run with a fair bit of ferocity and power. So they need to be perfect. Like they've got 4 legs. All of them need to be perfect. Everything. They can't go out with a corky like we can and manage it as well as we can, because they're all such fast twitch fibers and everything. Like things can go wrong with them quite quickly. I think that's where little things can come up and little niggles. So if you stay on top of them early, you can really sort of see them performing at their best.
Yeah, no, that's cool. As you said, your upbringing's made a massive difference, and sort of that growth mindset you had with the family, having the fun, who can win, who's winning, who's not. But like, what advice would you give to those younger people that are coming, even not through the ranks, but through their life, literally, that where they're stuck or they can't get over that hurdle? That, like, there's probably been times, as you said, you go in and spar and you get beaten, but you got to look at where you can get better. Like getting over that hurdle to get out of that probably fixed mindset to get into that growth mindset you've created.
Yeah, 100%. I think everyone finds a rut. I think at some stage there's going to be a rut where you're going, where do I go from here? Do I want to go do this? And I think that comes back to having high goals and having high aspirations and working towards them. I think if you can really find a goal and an aspiration that you want to achieve, there's always a way to get there. It's just, how do I get there? Everyone goes, oh yeah, I want to be rich, but they're scared to do the work. If you want to be rich, do the work, but how can you do the work right so it gets there for you? And I think for me, I want to box at the highest level I can and have fast racehorses. It's one of those things, but how can I do it? It's an easy thing to say, but how do you do it? And it's not being scared to work when things aren't going right, because they're not always going to go right 100% of the time. You're going to have times where you have injuries, and I've done both my hands, or come into 2 fights back, I've done a rotator cuff and I couldn't fight. I lost the opportunity to fight who I was fighting, or something goes wrong, my best horse hurt itself, and you go, oh, well, now I'm in trouble. But how can you bounce back from that and go, all right, where's my goals at? I want to get to here, but how do I get back to there when that's not right? Well, it's really just finding that motivation within yourself and going, yep, the motivation's not there, but the goal's still there. And you just got to really push and just always have that mindset of that's the goal and that's where I want to be. And I'm lucky I got a good partner who's the same, and my mates are the same. And having that group around you that you're in a rut, but you've always got your mates that go, come on, we're getting here. Like no matter what, you got to get there. And that's the other thing. It's a no matter what mindset. No matter what, for me, when I'm in the ring, I got to win. It's at all costs, I'm winning. No matter what I got to do. It doesn't matter if you got broken hands, if you've got bloody sore leg or whatever it is, or you've copped a few punches and you're not going as good as what you thought. You've got to win. And it's that mindset that you just need to have, that yeah, not everything's always going to go right 100% of the time, but you've got to really push yourself just to keep getting to your goals and to keep getting yourself through that hard situation, because there's always light at the end of the tunnel when it comes with those things. Like there's always a moment of, oh, hang on, I actually got through that. Or hang on, that it wasn't as bad as what I thought it was, sort of thing. And everyone's been in that situation where they go, oh, this is no good. Like I'm in all sorts here. And then 2 days later passes and go, oh yeah, I mean, it actually wasn't too bad.
it was
I'm in
pretty
a
easy.
lot better. I'm in a lot better spot now. Like it, and you have a laugh about it. So I think that's just the thing, is just remaining. Yep, that's my goal, and I got to work to get there.
Yeah. And as you said, having that goal, are you sort of someone who you'll put a plan in place that you've got to follow? So as you said, if you get stuck in that rut, you know where that plan is and that sort of destination you want to get to, or is it sort of just playing out in your head a little bit as well?
Everything sort of plays out in my head. Like I don't sit there and go, oh yeah, this is what I have to do. This is how it has to be. Like I think you sit too many formats in front of yourself, and as soon as you get off one, it gets off the next and off the next, and it derails the train. I think if you go, oh yeah, that wasn't perfect, but if I can move that to there, all of a sudden it starts to flow again. I think it's being able to have that flexibility with your goals, that we didn't quite get to that, but it doesn't mean we can't just do something a little bit different and all of a sudden we're back on track and back where we're going again. I think it's the same as boxing. Yeah, didn't have a perfect sparring session. We've got to change these little things. We sparred again the next time, perfect. And the same with the horses. Oh, yep, that wasn't perfect. Let's change this and this. It might be gear, it might be this, it might be just how they trained, and all of a sudden now it's flowing again. So I think it's just little things like that. If you can keep adjusting, and for me, if I don't get too fixated on the plan, I get fixated on what's the end goal. It's just no matter how I get there, it's just getting there and picking up little things, fixing little things, and changing little things along the way.
Cool. Same coming back to sort of your mindset side of things with the growth mindset. You're saying there's no certain way you have to do it. It's just as long as you keep working towards the goal you have in mind.
Yeah, 100%. And that's it. And it's like going back to racehorses. That's every trainer will say there's no wrong or right way to train a horse. Every single person trains differently. Everyone has their own plans. Everyone has their own routine with their horses, but they all perform at the high end. They all perform the same. So it's just doing it, and it's the same with sort of life and everything we do. It's just doing it and having it so it works, and it works for you. So you're comfortable in that situation and getting through it, sort of thing.
What's on the cards boxing wise, sort of horse racing coming up as well? Any coming up, like horses running that you got coming up soon?
Yeah, look, we've got some big races on for the family anyway. On Sunday, we've got the Australian hurdle. That's always a pretty big day at Sandown. It's Sandown's, I think, only race day in Melbourne left, where it's the best of the best, racing the best. I think we've got the favourite in the hurdle and second or third favourite in the steeple. So that's always exciting. A few there. I've got a few running around the bush. Mine aren't too quick at the moment, but we'll keep her out in the bush for a little bit longer. And that's the thing. Like, you just got to understand that I look at it and go, yeah, Dad's been training his whole life, and that's why he's at where he's at. He's got quick horses and good horses, and I've been doing it a couple of years, and I'm lucky I've got some horses that are winning races. Like, it's my horses might be worth 20 or 30,000, and the horses you're racing are worth 1 or 2 million, and it's not. That's another thing with horses, that they don't know their price tag when they're racing. So it's always nice, but bloodlines are bloodlines, and normally them expensive ones are fast. So you got to just remain on that path that, yeah, you might not have the fastest horse, or you might not have the most expensive horse, and you just got to pick your market. At the moment, mine's in the bush and sort of the country tracks, and the old boys running around in town and having a bit of fun. But it's just sort of hitting those little marks and goals along the way. But yeah, no, as far as horses go, there's a few coming up, but nothing too exciting. I think the next couple of months I've got some nice ones coming in, so it'll be nice.
Beautiful. And then boxing side of things, what's got coming on the cards now? You sort of
Yeah, boxing's starting to really rev up now. I think the next 18 months I'm really excited for. I think we get through this year. We've got 2 fights left this year. I think I've got one in either July or August or September. I've got given 3 dates. It's just sort of be ready, and I'll find out when the actual finalised date is out of those 3. And then we fight in December. I think it's the first weekend in December, so that's a fixed date already. And that's going to lead me into hopefully a massive year next year. I think it's middleweight's sort of probably going to be in the next 18 months. I think the strongest in the country. I think Tim Zoo said he's got 12 months left at super welter. He's going to middleweight. Nikita's going to middleweight. So it's going to be just like a massive stacked division of, if they both come in, there's going to be five fighters in the top sort of 40 or 50 in the world, all in just Australia alone. So it's going to be a massive fun time of boxing. I think there's some massive fights for me to sort of step into over the next 18 months. So we get through these fights this year, and I think next year's going to be massive.
yeah, that's exciting for the journey to come, and just as you said, keep getting better and keep growing as you do every fight.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think it's you already you go back to goals and ambition. They're the stepping stones in front of me, and each opponent there in front of me, the stepping stones. So you get excited. Next year, I already know there's some massive fights there for me, but you got July or August, whenever that is, and then you got December as another, and they're my next 2 big sort of stepping stones, and they're sort of building up. So it's just sort of, you get excited for those fights to come up, and your goals next year. I've got some big fights, and then that really leads me into my end goals. Hopefully, get onto that world stage.
Yeah, it's exciting, man, and great to hear your story so far. And thanks heaps for jumping on. And yeah, it's been great to see where you're at, and obviously still growing and still a lot to go. Still been so young in your career, but as you said, boxing you only done for a certain amount of time. Sometimes once you start getting knocked around a bit as well.
Yeah, 100%. Look, it's a sport you can't really play around in.
Yeah.
It's not like footy. You get puffed and you can take a breather and or go sit on the bench for 15 minutes. It's one of those things, you're in there, and for me, it's all or nothing. I'm giving everything to it, or there's no point doing it in boxing. If I wanted to do that, I'll just go play footy again and go have a kick and have some fun with my mates. But at the moment, it's just so driven to get into the best and being the best, and that's really where I want to get to eventually. So yeah, it's just all momentum heading towards that, and yeah, just building up along the way.
Great to hear, man. And yeah, thanks heaps for jumping on, and we'll wrap it up there, bro.
No,
Thank
thanks
you.
very much for having us.
Appreciate it.